When you see me do this, that's a lean in moment. And I'm going to tell a familiar story. I love this story because there's so much richness within this story. I'm going to tell this story, and then I'm going to explain the story. Then I'm going to extract a few nuggets from this story, and then we're going to put it all back together so you'll be able to thrive. Did you catch that? So from Luke chapter 17, verse 11, I read. I'm going to read this one from the New International Version, so hang with me. Now on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. That's important. Stick a pin. As he was going into the village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance, this is key, and called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." When they saw him, he said, "Go, show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, key element, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw that he was healed, he came back praising God in a loud voice. One threw himself at Jesus' feet, thanked him. He was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" Verse 19. Then he said to him, "Rise and go, your faith has made you well." Let's talk about it. The gift that no one wants. Life is seasonal. Because at different stages in your life, different seasons bring about different moods and mentality. I can see it in myself. Now, there was a time when I felt more gracious and more gratitude than, let's say, a year ago. A moment, I'm thankful to God for everything that's happening in my life and all the blessings that I've been receiving. But during that lull, during that season, that low season, about a year ago, those feelings started to move by the wayside. Couldn't put my finger on why until began preparing for this. So instead of being gracious and grateful, find yourself being agitated, angry, upset, all of the above, resentful, because I'm thinking and I'm feeling that everything that's around me, wasn't appreciating, the things that you bring to the table. You ever felt like that? You ever been in that situation where you are giving, you are loving, you're giving your best, you're giving your all, but it just seemed like no one around you appreciates the things that you're doing, the things that you're bringing to the table. And so you could go through that season, you can go through that moment and feel some type of way. And it happens to the best of us. Come on, y'all, don't be shy about talking back to me. done all you've done, did the things that you've done, and you've done them well, least somebody can say is thank you, appreciate it, I'm happy. Because nothing, digital pastors, drop this in the comment section, nothing stings more than ungrateful people. You know them. Y'all done got quiet on me. Stings and gets up under your skin than people who are ungrateful. You know, people who show no appreciation for what has been done for them. And I'd be willing to suggest the same people who are ungrateful towards you at some point in their life, they were ungrateful towards God. Someone shows no appreciation. To me, I take that as a sign of disrespect. Take that as a sign of ingratitude, a sign of ungratefulness. And so God had to deal with me. I'm good right now. So don't feel bad. I done got through that season. So God began to show me something. And what he showed me, he says, now y'all heard me say this all the time, be careful what you say to people because everyone's fighting a battle or has an internal struggle we know nothing about. Now, I try to live by that, but every now and then, you know, you have people push your button and make you go there. But the root cause of why some people, they show no appreciation for what has been done for them is one word. Digital pastors, drop this one word in the comment section. Entitlement. Entitlement is the root cause of ungratefulness. Entitlement. Go ahead, drop that. Now, when people feel entitled, they expect things to be given to them without having to put in any effort. That's right, Reverend T-Mo, entitlement. Entitled people expect things to be given to them without putting in any effort. So the things that you do for them, they expect that is what you're supposed to do, and they say nothing. Entitlement. And when you deal with people who feel or carry themselves as being entitled, if you're not careful, you will start feeling resentful. And I had to dig a little deeper, y'all, because if people who show no gratitude, the root cause of their lack of gratitude is a mentality of entitlement. So I had to dig a little deeper and ask a good friend of mine who works in this area of therapy, what causes someone to feel entitled? What causes them to feel entitled and then in turn lack gratitude? Well, he says, now the root cause is trauma. Trauma that they may have experienced during their childhood by not being acknowledged by the adults who are in their life and who cared for them. If a child is constantly dismissed or ignored by their parents or their guardians, then they may grow up to feel unappreciated as adults. So now they have this mentality because of a traumatic event of being neglected, feel underappreciated. So why say thank you? Why be gracious? Why be kind? Why show gratitude? And that's where we come to help you out today. Are y'all listening, or y'all just doing this in a passive way? So let's go there, because scripture does kind of help us in this whole piece, you all. And I tell you, when we look at it, Jesus knew a little something about this. He knew a little something about working with entitled people. Jesus knew something about dealing with people who lacked gratitude. People who are ungrateful, who didn't appreciate the things that were done for them. So, ingratitude, drop that digital, pastors, is not appreciating or valuing what you have or what you have been given. We're going to see that in this story. Because even when people do something nice for you, don't take it out on that person that you didn't receive attention. You were young. It's not their fault. But so we have to unlearn these things so we'll be able to function in a way that God called us to function, because nothing stings more in a relationship than people who are ungrateful. See, nobody's going to tell you this, but we get a chance to see it happen in this story today. So y'all ready to go there? Because when we hear about ingratitude or ungrateful people, the person who receives ingratitude, they're always aware. They know. But the one who doesn't give it is rarely aware. Because when you have a mindset or mentality of entitlement, you expect certain things to happen without you putting in any effort. But we're going to change that, because gratitude and ingratitude, they drive the health of a relationship. They determine how much you're going to give of yourself. And if it's not written or placed in a way that seems beneficial, then we see ourselves withholding. But we're going to change that with this story. I'm going to tell this story. I'll give you a principle to live by. Then I'm going to let you go. Y'all all right? God, y'all done got quiet. Now, Luke, the author of the book of Luke, and he's writing these things to chronologically put in order the things that Jesus had done. See, Luke knew people who knew Jesus. Luke might have even met Jesus. And so he takes us on a journey and asks a question that takes us to the heart of being ungrateful. Y'all hear me? So there's a conflict. There's a conflict between the Jews and the Samaritans. So going from north to south, you had to pass through Samaria. And as they were passing through Samaria, they come across these group of lepers, outcasts, no cure, highly contagious, in such a way that it damages nerves and you begin to lose the feeling in your fingers and your toes. So they had to live in these leper colonies. Are y'all hear me on this today? Y'all hear me on this today? And so living in these leper colonies, it was a long-term death sentence. It's like being in prison without walls. And they had to ring this bell to let you know whenever they were walking by, whenever they would get in close proximity, and had to call out and announce that they were unclean. Could you imagine the humiliation that they experienced? Could you imagine having to live your life like that? And so they see Jesus. They say, here's my opportunity. And they yell out to Jesus, Master, have pity on us. And then Jesus speaks back to them. And when he speaks back to them, that's an extraordinary leap of faith, because remember, they're outcasts. Remember, they were in prison without bars. The untouchables. The folk that no one wanted to deal with, no one had any dealings with them, but they see somebody who could do something about their situation. And so in verse 15, Jesus does what he does. He heals wirelessly. He spoke a word, told them to go back and show yourselves. And as they were going, they were cleansed. Verse 15 says, they got back their life. I talked about this a few years ago. They got back their lives because of their encounter with Jesus. But in verse 15, only one came back. Ungrateful. One came back. And so Jesus makes an inquiry about the 9. And he was like, wait a minute, wasn't there 10? But one of them, when he saw that he was healed, came back to Jesus shouting, praising God. He got something back that he had lost. He got something back that he thought that he would never get back. He got something back that he felt would never ever return to him. He got himself free from that prison without walls. Jesus gave the man his life back, clean bill of health. Then as they were going to show themselves to the priest, Jesus points out in verse 16 that he's a Samaritan. That's what the text says. Fell down to his feet. He fell down to the ground at Jesus' feet, thanking him for what he had done. And this man was a Samaritan. If you know the history between the two, you know they had no dealings with one another. But he goes back to thank the one who had enabled him to move forward with this life. The other 9 had that sense of entitlement. Hey, you healed everyone else. Miracle worker, then you heal us. But one came back because he got his life back. And I just want to stick a pin right here. Now, no matter how successful you are, you can look back at the people who helped you get to where you are. Show them a little gratitude. Show them that you're grateful. Show them that in the midst of all of this, that you are blessed because somebody helped you get your life back. Look at verse 17. This is what Jesus says. Wait a minute. Didn't I heal 10 men? Well, the other 9. That's that sting, man. You could hear the sting in Jesus's voice. You could hear the disappointment at the ungratefulness of the majority. See, when you and I are in a relationship and there is something that's exchanged, something is wrong and incomplete and unfinished until we close that loop. Now, in verses 18, in verse 19, we see this. The other 9, they felt it, but they never expressed it. They probably really were thankful that Jesus did what he did, but they never expressed it back to him. They were going to do it, but life got in the way and they never got around to it. And the end result is it stung Jesus. And the reason I know it stung Jesus is because he thought enough to say something. He thought enough to include it in scripture. So yeah, it bothered him. And I don't know any person who will tell you, well, it's all good. No, it bothers you when you experience ungrateful people. It bothers him to the point where he expresses it. And so when you don't say thank you, when you don't say I appreciate you, when you don't express gratitude, digital pastors, drop this. Unexpressed gratitude says, I'm ungrateful. Go to a restaurant, man. I tell you, since my circle is a little small, I usually go out to eat with the same group, normally. But if I don't know you, I watch you. I want to see how you're going to treat people who are in no position to elevate your life. You know, people like the maitre d', people like the host or the hostess, the wait staff. I'm watching. Because here you have people who are on their feet 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day, back and forth, making sure that what you order and what you have is done in a decent and orderly way. So I watch. I'm going to watch and see how you treat them. Are you expressing gratitude in such a way that at least they appreciate, or you appreciate what they've done? If you've gone out with me, you've seen this in motion. You bring me a glass of water. Thank you. I appreciate that. You refill my water. Thank you. You bring my bread to the table. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You bring my food. Thank you. Because unexpressed gratitude communicates ingratitude. So if you're going to treat the wait staff like that, boy, I can just imagine how you going to treat me or how you going to treat others within your circle. See, it burns me. 2 things that burn me. It burns me that people go out of their way to be grateful, for people who are above them. Somebody could probably do something for them. But the people who are in no position to do anything for them, they express ingratitude. But we want to change that. We want to change that. Because when you and I withhold gratitude over the time You know what that communicates to a person? Rejection. When you never say thank you, you never show appreciation, you never show that type of love, over time, your heart, which is built to gravitate towards acceptance, communicates rejection. So we're going to change that this season. We're going to change all of that. Because anytime, and I'm done, someone does something for you, there's something that's incomplete in the relationship until they receive something from you.